So, I'm on a job and, I got time to shoot this video, so I'm going to go ahead and shoot this video. Got a couple of questions, comments, concerns for, Walt G at Detroit Street Watchers because really not sure what he's doing. Not really sure how effective he is. But let's jump right into it. I'm not sure if he's self-promoting himself or is he out there trying to do the right thing? I'm assuming he's trying to do the right thing, but he's heavy into self-promotion because half the time what I assume to be a camera phone, is pointed at him. Why? Why would you point the camera at yourself unless there's some self-promotion involved, right? Another concern of mine is I'm not sure that he's actually knows what he's doing. I'm not really sure. It seems to me some of the things that he does puts him out on a legal precipice, and he'll have to deal with the Wayne County prosecutor, Kim Worthy, if he really makes a mistake. And Kim Worthy, well, her reputation is in the city of Detroit and Wayne County is, she's nothing to play with. Not at all. You better be game tight when you deal with Kim Worthy. You better be correct. That woman will eat you alive. This is just, her reputation as I understand it. Now, why do I have this concern? Well, he goes into vacant houses. He says, he looks for dead bodies, but, at times he's come across people in those houses. He does announce himself, Detroit Street Watchers, is anybody in here? But sometimes he has a gun in his hand. And that's a concern. I mean, I would have to consult, the Michigan legislature and look at their laws, but, reckless use of a firearm, reckless display of a firearm, brandishing, all depending, maybe. I would have to consult the textbooks, the Michigan legislature. In that CPL that he keeps talking about that he has, they can suspend that or they just take that all together. So that's a concern of mine, and I give a better example. I'll give you a really good example. So there's a house that he says that he, there's a couple of stolen cars behind, and that he went back there and there were a couple of stolen cars, and I guess he called DPD and the cars were recovered. So he sees another car back there. The wheels are off, the hoods are up. I think it's a Fusion. And he says it's a stolen car. Well, first problem is you don't know if it's a stolen car. You don't know. That's the first problem. Second problem is he goes back there, or he starts to walk back there, and he pulls out his gun because he doesn't know if anyone's back there. Well, you pulled out your gun. That's a problem. And then he has it pointed at the ground. So I assume him to say, well, my gun was pointed at the ground. It's tactically weak, but okay. I don't know why you just didn't leave it in your holster. It should have just been in your holsters because you don't know if the car is stolen. You don't know what's going on. He goes back there and, he announces himself, and a guy pops up from, behind the car. Now, here's the thing. The guy pops up from behind the car. He may not know who the Detroit Street Watchers are. He may know nothing about these people. The car might not be stolen. The car could have been his. But when he pops up and you got a gun in your hand, when Walt G has a gun in his hand, whoa, what the fuck is going on? Right? I don't know. So if the guy pops up and he looks, the guy's got a gun in his hand and he has a gun and he draws his gun and maybe shoots Mr. Walt G, he may or may not be justified. I would have to really look at a lot of case law because, who's this guy with his gun in his hand? Now, it would be different if Walt G owned the property, maybe. I'm not sure. Once again, I'll have to consult some some case law. But since they were both kind of trespassing on the property because maybe neither one of them belonged there, I don't know. Or it could have been the guy's property. Who knows? Walt G doesn't know. And that's the biggest thing. Walt G doesn't know, and he walked back there with a gun in his hand, and that's a problem. Legally, that is a problem. So I'm concerned about that. And that, someone might shoot you, and they may be justified in shooting you. So that's a really big problem. Uh, when you go into these properties that you don't own, trying to do good. I mean, no one says that you're not trying to do good. It just, you may be able to do it better because legally, I don't know. I don't know. I don't like it, and I would have to consult, like I said, the Michigan legislature, look at some case law, look at a couple of different things because legally, to me, it's scary. Uh, and the other thing that concerns me about Walt G is that he calls himself the Black Batman. Player, you are not Batman. You don't do the things that Batman does. I don't know why you call yourself Batman. Batman would actually subdue people. I'll give you an example. He suspects a house in one of his videos of being a depot for drugs. They're selling drugs out the house. So he gets on a loudspeaker or bullhorn or whatever, and he's basically, you motherfuckers gonna have to get up out of here, and we all know this and we all know that, and we know you dealing drugs out of here. Well, if Batman suspected anyone of dealing drugs, I mean, we're basing this as a hypothetical because Batman is a comic book cartoon fictionalized character. He would actually go in the house and investigate, and if they were actually selling drugs, he would actually knock a couple people out, maybe tie a couple people up, and the police would be notified, however Batman does that, and then they would come out there and find the drugs and find the perpetrators already incapacitated and simply take them into custody. Walt G's doing none of that. So, dude, you're not Batman. Black Batman, white Batman, Asian Batman, Hispanic Batman. You are not Batman. So, cut that out. And then it says the wrong thing about you because generally Batman is perceived as a vigilante. And in a court of law, that's not going to work out to your benefit. So, I don't know what the fuck you're doing. Like I said, you may be self-promoting yourself because half the time you're the only one on camera. And then when you do point the camera at somebody, generally, for the most part, I can't make them out. You're not spending enough time in any one place to, I guess, ascertain what's really going on. Such and such is a known prostitute or prostitutes are known to be working here, and you saw some woman get picked up in a car, but you could actually be right. She could actually be prostituting herself, but the problem is you don't have any evidence of such. Like the guys you say they're dealing drugs out the house. You don't actually have any evidence of such activity. Because I don't think you're taking the time to ascertain what's going on. You're listening to what some people are telling you, and you may suspect some things, but you're not taking the time to build a case. And I don't think you're taking the time to ascertain what's going on. Now, I could be wrong. I don't know. This is what I suspect just by watching your videos. So, do what you do, because that's what you do, according to you. But I would actually try to leave the gun in the holster a little bit. I would actually try to leave the gun in the holster. And I don't know why you're taking pictures of yourself with the gun in your hand. That's just, stupid. And your titles are misleading. I almost got caught up in the drive-by, or somebody tried to, ambush me while I'm checking out this car. I didn't see any evidence of that in those videos. And I mean, when those guys pulled up to you next in the car, I didn't see any guns in their hand. Your cameras are so bad, it's just ridiculous. So, if we can't make out in the video that they may or may not have a gun, and you're talking about your video recording everything, and that's your documentation, and that's your evidence. If I can't see a gun in their hand, I can't make out a gun in their hand, then guess what? It's inconclusive. I'm going to have to say you're fucking wrong. That's all I'm saying. So, That's it, man. Do what you do. You're not Black Batman. There's a better way to do what you do. Please consult some. Please consult the Michigan legislature. Read some statutes. Read some case law, and protect yourself out there. Not only from what the hell is going on out there, but legally, because Kim Worthy, my understanding that woman ain't a joke. Once again, that woman is not a joke. She will eat you alive, player. She will eat you alive. So that's pretty much all I got to say. Deuces.